fire of our own, vehicle fire, and a couple alarm calls. And we even helped out at the election. So that was the month of March. March compared to a year ago, we were behind last year's by about 8 calls at the end of the month. But I'll let you know we made that up already. We're even with last year to date right now. Couple things I like to report. We did, the fire department did participate in the protective mask collection, and we collected 230 masks. Mostly they were homemade, some very unique designs, I have to say that. So what we're doing now is I'll take those and I'm going to wash them all. And then we've identified Cambia Hills and the new senior home as the donation site for those. So it turned out pretty good. I also want to talk about the burning ban. The DNR still has burning restrictions that are on. So as far as permits, we're not doing burning permits at this time. You can do recreational fires, and we've been down this road before. A recreational fire is 3 feet wide and 3 feet high, and you can't be burning yard waste in it. Recreational fire is just that, for recreation. Cooking fires are also allowed. The rule of thumb with the DNR is when the green stuff gets as high as the brown stuff, that's when the burning restrictions come off. Now, I realize we had a little bit of rain last night. I realize we're going to have another ½ inch of rain today, or tonight and tomorrow. But just remember, all the brown stuff is what we call 1 hour fuels. After it stops raining, it only takes an hour for it to dry out, and it'll burn like heck again. So if everybody would please watch that, I appreciate it. I did hear there were quite a few people burning this weekend. I'm researching FEMA grants, maybe to assist us with some personnel costs. I don't have a lot to report on it because the guidance just came out on Friday and I'm still going through it. So I think what I'd like to do is I'll get together with Jack, and if there's something to report at the first council meeting in May, I'll ask to be put on the agenda for that.
Okay.
Mayor.
Okay. Any questions for Chief Randy?
Chief Ducharme, the election assistance that you provided, was that due to people not being able to be election judges and show up? Thank you.
No, we always make sure that the election judges are able to get in the building, and we always make sure that when they get there in the morning that they're okay, that they know where everything is. And then in the evening, we'll have a fire officer come back, and when they close up, to make sure that the building's secure. So that was the election assistance. We have nothing to do with the elections other than the physical building.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Chief?
I have one. Mark, if you don't mind, just stay on the meeting until we get through the consent agenda, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, thanks, Mark. We'll move on to consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt tonight's consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made in second. Discussion?
I'd like to pull item D, please.
D as in dog?
Yes.
Yeah. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Sweeney, could you take roll call vote, please?
Yes, Mayor Voss,
Aye.
Councilmember Harrington,
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel,
Aye.
Councilmember Plaisance,
Aye.
and Councilmember Ronning.
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it. Motion passes. Suzanne, item D.
Item D, this is referencing the gambling permit for the Andover Youth Hockey. I am wondering, what is their plan? What are they going to do? Are they going to be selling pull tabs or what? I'm just curious. I think it's a phenomenal thing that they're fundraising, but I was just curious about that.
Suzanne, they will be selling pull tabs.
Okay, that's all I have. I'll make a motion to approve item D on the consent agenda.
Is there a second for that motion? I will second that motion. Discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Sweeney, could you take roll call vote, please?
Mayor Voss,
Aye.
Councilmember Harrington,
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel,
Aye.
Councilmember Plaisance,
Aye.
and Councilmember Ronning.
Ayes have it. The motion passes. There's no new business tonight. On to department reports. Jack.
Item 7G1, May the 4th, 2020, Local Board of Appeal and Equalization meeting. The Local Board of Appeal and Equalization meeting is scheduled for May 4th, 2020 at 7 p.m. at City Hall. The platform for the LB&A meeting will be WebEx, a real-time video conference application that allows presenters and members to remotely participate in meetings. Both the city assessor and the Anoka County's assessor office are agreeable to and comfortable with conducting the meeting within this arrangement. As a requirement for the meeting, there must be a quorum. One of the LB&A trained members must be part of the quorum, and the assessment staff present for the meeting. The open meeting laws allows for meetings displaced to take virtually. The meeting is proposed to be set up as follows. The mayor will open and conduct the meeting from a remote location. Councilperson Randy Plaisance, a trained LB&A member, will be physically present in council chambers. Councilperson Suzanne Urkel is the trained member to back up Mr. Plaisance in the event of his absence. Mrs. Urkel will remote into the meeting if Randy is present. If Randy is not present, then Mrs. Urkel will be required to attend the meeting in City Hall. Residents who wish to appeal their property valuation or tax classifications will be able to attend the meeting and speak to their issues by use of a public computer that will be set up in the senior center or the large conference room in City Hall. Councilmember Harrington has volunteered to monitor the location and provide direction and schedule those wishing to present. The city and county assessor will participate virtually from separate remote locations, and the county assessor will provide additional details to the city as to their procedure for acquiring the signatures of the members present at the meeting. We will advertise to the public through all of our media resources the following information. Number one, contact the city assessor as soon as possible if you have questions or wish to appeal your tax valuation or property classification. The assessor will work with you to settle this matter prior to the meeting. If the matter is settled prior to the meeting, there is no need for you to attend, as your concerns will be adjusted by the assessor. Do not attend the meeting unless you are a presenter. For those interested in monitoring the meeting, it can be viewed on cable channel 10 or on YouTube. Do not bring family or friends to the meeting. If you need someone to represent or assist your appeal, only have those persons attend the meeting with you. Contact City Hall prior to the meeting for an appointment to present your appeal. Appeals will generally be limited to 20-minute time slots. If you do not pre-register for an appointment, you are required to sign in to present your appeal. Depending on the number of persons pre-registered, you may have to wait in a location to be designated before your presentation is heard. Upon the conclusion of each presenter, City Council, sitting as the Local Board of Appeals and Equalization, will make a decision to accept the value of the appealed assessments or adjust valuations based on materials presented by residents and the city assessor to reduce the congregation of those waiting to address their concerns. Social distancing guidelines will be strictly enforced. County notices were mailed on April 21st, 2020, leaving city property owners only a minimal time frame between the receipt of their statements and the date of the May 4th meeting to appeal their 2021 valuations and classifications. City has May 11th, 2020 set as an alternate date for the LB&A meeting and could use this as a reconvened meeting date, which would allow property owners more time to consider an appeal. It would also allow the city assessor more time to work with those property owners who wish to approach the County Board of Appeal and Equalization in June. Council may wish to consider scheduling May 11th, 2020 as a reconvened meeting where any additional appeals may be read into the minutes. This would allow property owners more time to determine if they'd like to appeal. For example, the May 4th LB&A meeting would hear any appeals at that point in time. However, instead of adjourning the meeting on May 4th, as typically would happen, Council could vote to reconvene the meeting on May 11th. That means they could meet again prior to the deadline of May 26th and could deliberate on any new appeal parcels or could simply just read new parcels into the meeting minutes. By reading these parcels into the meeting minutes, it reserves the property owner's right to appear before the county board in June and allows the city assessor more time to work with the property owner to resolve and dispute any issues outside of a board setting. So that's the way we propose to set up the meeting and conduct it, and we're open for discussions on any recommendation, changes, or modifications you may wish to present.
Say, Jack, this is Tim. When we had that phone call this afternoon, can we get Ken's new number out there? Because that number on his card is not a good number.
Yes, we'll get that out first thing in the morning, Tim.
Okay, channel 10 or something so people can get it?
Yeah, sure will.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. So it sounds like Ken changed his phone number?
There's a phone number that we have now for him. We didn't find that out today. It's different than the one on his card that's available at the City Hall counter.
Okay. So, but on the notices from the county, it doesn't list his number at all, right?
No, I just think the notice from the county lists the date of the meeting, the time, and the location.
Okay. All right. So, Randy.
So Jack, do you need a motion in order to change the date here or to continue the meeting until the 11th? Or is that something that we are going to do at the May 4th meeting as a continuation?
I would recommend we just do it at the May 4th meeting and not adjourn the meeting and have it as a reconvened date on May the 11th. And again, that just gives people a little bit more time for those that don't get ample notification. There was such a short notice at the time the notices were sent out in the meeting date that I'm sure some people are going to miss this. That would give them another week's opportunity that we can still advertise this and they can still come to appeal their assessment if they desired so.
I think I would just as soon schedule a meeting for the 11th. We don't, it's not on the agenda for tonight, but we don't have a work meeting on the 4th, do we?
We do. This will be our work meeting. This is what we decided earlier, that May the 4th is our work meeting. So we would have the May 4th be the LB&A meeting.
Well, my point is we don't have an agenda for our work meeting, right?
No, that's correct.
So rather than have a special meeting just for the LBAE, why not do it the following week when we have our council meeting?
Because it's already noticed on the dates that went out on the notifications.
Okay, now I understand. I'm sorry.
So the only question then would be whether we wanted to make the 11th an actual date that we're going to be having the LBA and the E-meeting continuation. And I think, Jack, you're right that making that decision on the 4th would be the way to go, simply because if we do that now, then we would actually have to hold that meeting. I mean, if we take care of everything on the 4th, there would be no reason or cause to have that meeting on the 11th, correct?
That's one way. I would still like to do it in just a reconvene because that gives people an extra week. If nobody shows up, we just reconvene the meeting on the 11th. If nobody shows up to present an appeal, we adjourn.
Okay, very good. Thank you for the clarification.
And again, the reason is this is tax statements or the valuation statements by residents were not received until April 21st. So that just gives people a real short window of time to decide what they want to do and prepare their information for an appeal. This would give them an extra week if they so required and needed that. Didn't get the first notification on this, couldn't make it to the Monday meeting.
Okay, I have a question about, in his past, have we had a lot of people complain, or has it always been just one or two, or what's the history on that? Thank you.
Generally, it's been anywhere from two. I think the most we ever had at one time was about 8 or 9 people. That was several years ago. Generally, it's in that, let's say in the 4 to 6 range. In most cases, we're able to generally handle it in one meeting. There was once that we did have to reconvene and meet again on the alternate date, but that's the exception rather than the rule.
Yeah. And I think we've had years where we've had no one there too. So it's hard to say.
And you know, generally these notices get sent out 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time. And a lot of times the city assessor has the ability to work this out with people beforehand. So with the shorter date, there could actually be more people. But with the current COVID-19 crisis that we're working in, there could be some people that just decide not to even do it this year. We're not really going to know till we start the meeting. So it's kind of a roll of the dice.
So for most of the public there that are watching tonight's meeting, you know, it is important to contact the city assessor ahead of time if you do have questions or concerns and you want to bring before council. As many times those issues can be resolved with our city assessor ahead of time. So it helps everyone involved if those discussions are held before the actual meeting. So.
You know, that's very true, Steve. And also too, this is the only opportunity that people can appeal their tax valuation throughout the year. So the next opportunity will be in April of 2021. So if you have any questions or reservations about your valuation or your tax classification of your property, this is the meeting to come through to present that.
Okay. So do we need an actual action tonight, Jack?
We could just go ahead and make a motion to do a reconvene meeting for the 11th, or we could wait and do that on the.
I think the discussion we have is wait until we actually have the meeting on the 4th to decide. So any objection to that by anyone? I think we got consensus on that. Okay.
All right, item 7G2, 186th Avenue to Viking Boulevard Service Project Memorandum of Understanding Amendment Proposal. The East Bethel City Council approved a memorandum of understanding for the Elvidge project on January 13th, 2020. The MOU outlined expectations and time schedule for the project for both the city and the developer. Due to permitting issues encountered by both parties, commencement of the original scope of work has been delayed by up to 4 months. City staff met with MnDOT state aid personnel on March 12, 2020. The meeting was held to discuss the frontage road project, including Davenport, Aberdeen Street, 187th Lane, and 186th Avenue. Among the items discussed were the construction of the sanitary sewer water main as a separate project ahead of the street construction was included in the original schedule. Separation of the utility project as an independent bid was not recommended by MnDOT as it could create issues with the obligated funds for the service road. Required environmental documents that are needed prior to construction of the street project will most likely show that there's at least one endangered species within the project limit, that being a northern long-eared bat. With this species present, summer warm weather clearing and grubbing is highly restrictive even for the city's utility project, which was projected to start during this time frame. Also, the federal review will consider the water sewer project work tied to the street project regardless of the funding source. If summer clearing is requested, another layer of federal review will be required, which still may not grant permission. This extra layer of federal review will add a minimum of 6 weeks to the environmental document review. Based on that meeting, it was established that this project should be bid as one project, utilities and road both at the same time. And we provided a timetable in which there would be August bids, and then the review after that, and a November 1st construction. Due to the need to combine the utility and street construction as one project and the added federal review required for a late spring start, staff recommended the project commence after November 1st and follow an amended schedule as proposed. The 186th Avenue to Viking Boulevard Service Road was added as a state transportation improvement program. This was done via amendment Monday, March 16th, 2020 by Lisa Daniels, Metro State Engineer, State Aid Engineer. It's going to take a 3-month time frame to get all this done as far as the review process with MnDOT. The project memorandum could be approved as early as July 2020. This must be approved before the plans for the project can be approved, but plans can proceed concurrently. By plans, that means development of our submission of design work. MnDOT state aid must submit approval of authorization from the Federal Highway Administration to encumber the money before the project goes out to bid. This request would be sent the first week of August 2020. Project bidding would occur in August 2020 with end of August as a projected bid opening, subject to receipt of approval of authorization from MnDOT. Bids would be sent to MnDOT and the Federal Highway Administration for review and DBE OJT requirements. This process would require 2 weeks before the bid could be awarded. Project award would be mid-end September 2020. Start of clearing and grubbing would start on November 1st, 2020 for the entire project limits. Sanitary and water main construction is to commence by the end of November and continue through the winter of 2021. Phase 1 of the street construction project would commence in April of 2021 with substantial completion by June of 2021. Phase 2 street construction would start no later than Phase 1, or the completion of Phase 1, anticipated completion by November 1st, 2020. While the dates commit the city to a timetable, they are conditioned upon approval of all the factors necessary for us to start our portion of the project, as prescribed in the Memorandum of Understanding. The revised schedule will still meet the city and developers' timeline requirements. This change only rearranges the sequences of required activities, not alter the original project completion date. Staff has discussed this amendment with the Elevage Development Group, and there's concurrence with the change. The city's obligations for this project are approximately $4.2 million, $3.2 million funded by MnDOT, $1 million from the city. This project is not anticipated to affect any city limits. Council is requested to consider approval of the proposed amended memorandum of understanding with the Elevage Development for the 186th Avenue to Viking Boulevard Service Road project as exhibited in attachment 2.
All right, thanks, Jack. Your motion.
I'll make a motion for approval of the proposed amended memorandum of understanding with the Eldridge Development Group for the 186th Avenue to Viking Boulevard Service Road project as exhibited in attachment 2.
Tom? Tommy, second?
Yes.
Okay, motion made second. Discussion. Okay, we've seen this things a few times, so seeing there's no discussion, Mr. Sweeney, could you take roll call vote, please?
Yes, Mayor.
Aye.
Mayor Voss.
Aye.
Councilmember Harrington.
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel.
Aye.
Councilmember Plaisance.
Aye.
Councilmember Ronning.
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it. That motion passes. Hey, on the staff reports, Jack.
I just want to remind everybody that all the city parks are still open except for the playgrounds and for non-congregate activities. Please, everybody go out and enjoy some of the open space and utilize our trails at Booster East Park, John Anderson Park, and Fish Lake Nature Trail. Everything is all cleaned up and ready to go, so these things are open for your own activities and use. That's all I have to add, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thanks, Jack. Council reports, Tim.
Last Thursday, the 24th, we had our joint powers meeting on Zoom. The elected officials voted to pass their 2021 budget. And just want to pass this on. Saturday, they had 87 vehicles go through the recycling center. I just thought I'd let everybody know.
Okay, thanks, Tim. Randy.
I have nothing to report today. Thanks.
Thanks, Randy. Suzanne.
I have nothing. Thank you.
Thanks, Suzanne. Tom?
Before we conclude, we spoke about some action regarding May 11th at the May 4th meeting. Probably a vote. May 4th meeting will be a work meeting. We won't be able to conduct any business. If we're going to make that motion, we almost have to do it now.
Go ahead, Jack.
No, the local board of assessment and appeals, that's what the meeting will be scheduled as. And that will be a called meeting, and it will be operated under meeting rules and regulation. We can take a vote, and we will have to take action at that meeting, so we can vote then.
Thanks. Just wanted to, no, nothing further from me.
I'm sorry, Tom, you didn't come through very quick. Did you have anything more? Tom?
No, I happy to clear that up. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thanks. And I do not have anything myself tonight. So with that, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made second. Any discussion? Mr. Sweeney, could you take roll call, please?
Mayor Voss,
Aye?
Councilmember Harrington,
Aye.
Councilmember Urkel,
Aye.
Councilmember Plaisance,
Aye.
Councilmember Ronning.
Aye.
All right, the ayes have it. Our meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
I'm sorry, Randy. I'll get it eventually.
It's all right, Pat. I wasn't offended. Thanks.